And good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all our friends and supporters of the Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association. Today is a holiday. So, maligayang araw po ng EDSA, People's Power Revolution. 35 years ago, we had that wondrous moment. But let's not get into that aspect because we are now here sa second edition ng second episode ng ating PATAFA PepTalks, Performance Experience Practice. And for today, our featured speaker and guest is one of our staunch supporters and partners, especially for the Federation's programs and projects. He's none other than MILO Sports Manager, Mr. Lester Castillo. Sir, thank you so much for joining us and acceding to our invitation to you. Yan, Milo, ganda ng virtual background ni sir. Napakaganda po ng ating topic in relation to what we are celebrating today, grassroots. Okay, so it's all about delivering needed support and opportunities to all our kababayans on the grassroots level. We've been hearing this term and concept for quite a long time, pero parang wala pa tayo talagang definitive agreement as to what a grassroots sports program is. And to help us unravel the meaning, the deeper and a relatively relevant meaning to that concept and terminology, nandito nga si Mr. Lester Castillo. Sir, batiin naman natin ang ating mga participants sa ating webinar for today.
Hello, isang energetic and champion afternoon to everyone who's joining us this afternoon sa ating PATAFA PepTalks. We're very fortunate na na-invite po tayo ng PATAFA dito to show and to share our take on grassroots sports development in the Philippines. I see we have a lot of attendees in this session. Hopefully, what we are about to share, sana po maka-enrich ng inyong knowledge din as well. Again, thank you to PATAFA for inviting us.
And sir, having said that, I believe you have something to share and present to all our participants for the start of our session. And then later, we'll have a convo, okay? Ginagamit ko na ang term ng millennial, convo. So I prepared a couple of questions for you. And of course, you guys, to all our participants, you could throw in some of your queries. We could accommodate maybe up to 5 questions later after Sir Lester's presentation. So, sir, take it away.
Okay, again, thank you, Edward. Please give me a moment to share my screen. Hi, Edward. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. It's clear on my end.
Okay, give me a bit. Ayan, okay. Since I'm sharing my screen, can you see the full screen, Sir Edward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Since I'm sharing my screen, I'm not able to see any other videos. So siguro if there's anyone who raises their hand or anything, just let me know na lang, Sir Edward, kasi I can only see my presentation. Okay. So again, good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to share with you how MILO has been committed with the Philippines grassroots sports development in our country. So first off, this came from one of the researches done sometime in, I think this was in 2017. So there are several barriers why a lot of children are not into sports. Kasi pag sinabi nating grassroots, ang understanding namin dito or ang interpretation namin dito, yung doon sa nag-uumpisa pa lang tumubo. So, kumbaga ba, try to get that intervention of getting them into sports as early as that stage where they are already physically literate, meaning their bodies are capable or are able to get into the basics of the sports. So these are the different barriers on why a lot of children are not into sports. So meron pong tatlo sa taas and merong dalawa sa baba. Yung tatlo po sa taas, this is on a worldwide trend, and then yung dalawa po sa baba, local in the Philippines. So first off, I'm sure you can relate, and to those who have children, there's a lot of time spent too much on technology. Okay lang naman to spend time with technology. I also have my kids. I give them screen time. But I think yung ano nito, yung qualifier nito is not to spend too much time on technology. There's only 24 hours in a day. So kung sobrang kakainin ng tablets or ng gadgets yung oras nila, it will deprive them from getting into other activities such as physical activities or getting into sporting activities. Second is fear of trying. Okay. Especially sa mga bata, ako in a way, na-experience ko rin to growing up. Meron kasing certain expectation yung mga peers mo, yung mga bata, na if you start getting into the sport, meron silang expectation na magaling ka na agad. Meaning, hindi ka lalampa-lampa. Pag nagba-basketball kayo, marunong ka sumalo ng bola. Nagba-badminton kayo, marunong ka humawak ng racket. Nagfo-football kayo, hindi lalamya-lamya yung pagkasipa mo. So, merong ganung expectation yung peers mo, yung ibang mga kabataan with you. Now, pumapasok yung fear of trying kasi minsan yung bata, because of that pressure, because of that expectation, parang I'd rather not get into that sport or even try it out. And the main reason is baka mabully ako ng ibang mga bata. Baka sabihin, lampa ako, hindi ako marunong, pagtawanan ako. So ang baba ng self-esteem ng bata, wala masyadong confidence. So that's the second one, fear of trying. Next, we have lack of safe spaces to play. Ito, not just worldwide, very prevalent to sa mga third world countries like the Philippines. Actually, yung visual dyan, I'm not sure kung nakikita nyo. Ano to, yung mga bata naglalaro ng basketball sa kalye. So, dahil wala masyadong accessible sporting venues where these children can get into the sport, some of the communities do makeshift sporting facilities. In this case nga, yan, gumawa na lang ng basketball court, gawa sa kahoy, di ba? Merong board. Minsan yung board nga hindi rectangle, ano lang siya, square siya. Tapos minsan yung hoop niya talagang bakal lang na gano'n. So nag-i-improvise lang sila. And since there is a lack of safe spaces to play, yung mga magulang minsan they are concerned on letting their children to go out and play. Kasi in this case, baka masagasaan ng tricycle, masagasaan ng sasakyan, or baka pag hinahabol yung bola, kasi syempre tatalbog yung bola somewhere, baka merong butas doon, malaglag sila. So, yung magulang din mismo, hindi sila confident na safe yung mga anak nila when they play. Next, sa baba, okay, so lacks life application. So for ito especially with the parents belonging to the socio-economic class DE, for them ito verbatim to, parang sinasabi ng magulang, anak, ba't ka ba mag-e-sports? Wala ka naman mapapala dyan. Mag-aaral ka na lang, makakuha ka ng magandang grades, tapos makakuha ka ng magandang trabaho later on. Yung sports, laro-laro lang naman yan eh. So, mag-aaral ka na lang para matuto ka, maging matalino ka, makakahanap ka ng magandang trabaho. So, for most parents, especially again in the lower socioeconomic class, it lacks life application. Wala naman itutulong ang sports pagdating sa pagkakaroon ng magandang buhay. Next is less time for physical education. I'm sure you've heard of MAPE. So that's Music, Arts, PE, and Health. The way the education system evolved, especially in the public schools, yung dating physical education that is being done on a weekly basis, 3 hours per week, ngayon, naging monthly na lang siya. So yung dating weekly na PE session, naging monthly na lang. And the reason being, because of the way it evolved into MAPE. So on the first week, kunyari, that's about music. On the second week, it's about arts. On the third week, it's about PE. So doon papasok yung PE. And on the fourth week, doon papasok yung health. And minsan, kapag for some reason, kulang yung kagamitan ng school pagdating sa PE, kunyari, wala masyadong sports equipment, yung dedicated na 1 week for PE alone, kakainin pa minsan ng music, arts, and health. So, all the more na parang medyo nag-deprioritize yung physical education for children. And because of these barriers, itong mga identified barriers natin, in fact, back in 2017, again, 2016 research ito, we launched a campaign called Lessons. So wait, let me check if it's gonna share. So let me unshare my screen and I'll share a new screen. Sir Edward, malinaw naman yung ano, no? Yung slides, ano, tsaka yung audio.
Malinaw naman, sir.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, are you able to see my screen? It should show a YouTube channel.
Yes, yeah, I could
Okay.
see your
So naka-black lang siya.
Navigating, yeah.
Okay, so i-play ko siya. Let me know na lang kung walang sound. So this is Lessons.
Sa sports, marami siyang matututunang aral na madadala niya sa labas ng court. Pakikisama kahit anong mangyari. Disiplina sa anumang bagay. At kumpiyansa para sa lakas ng loob. Mga aral na di niya makakalimutan at madadala niya habang buhay. Kaya sali na sa MILO Sports Programs and get your child into sports.
Yan, so I hope it played properly. So yung battle cry po nung material natin is get your child into sports. Because through sports, you get to learn, you get to learn different character-forming values that can help you succeed later on in life. Okay, so I hope you are seeing my PowerPoint presentation at the moment. So again, ito po yung lessons natin kanina. So yung highlight natin dito sa material na to are 3 different values. That's discipline, confidence, and teamwork. So these are the values that you don't easily learn within the 4 corners of your classroom. These are values that are very integral when you get your child or your children into sports. So sabi nga nila, sports is a great teacher. So this is something that I was able to lift in the internet lang. So these are just 50 reasons why parents should encourage their children to get into sports. So yon, it increases confidence, it builds friendship, and it builds character. So these are just some of the values or the benefits of getting children into sports. So yung yung kanina na lax life application, hindi siya totoo na sa sports laro-laro lang naman yan. It creates character. Nagiging mas resilient or mas determined yung bata, nagiging mas relentless siya, nagiging mas matibay siya. In fact, ako personally, children who grew up with sports are made of a certain fabric na hindi basta-basta mapupunit. matigas yan, matibay yan, lalaban yan, hindi basta-basta susuko. So any challenge na dumating sa kanila, mapa-career nila or mapa-personal challenges, alam mong gagawa at gagawa sila ng paraan to go around it. Sports is not about just winning. It's also about losing. In fact, a lot of the champion athletes that we have established through the years, they became close friends with losing or with failing because it is through those experiences that allowed them to become the best that they can be. And that's where the grassroots sports programs come in. And that's where we also come in. Habang bata pa lang, habang they're very receptive to values formation or character development, we are playing our part to get them into sports at an early age. Kasi para bata pa lang, may pundasyon na, maganda na yung values nila. And when MILO started in the Philippines in 1964, we've been very consistent with the sports programs. Itong sports programs na to are really tuned to grassroots sports development. So mga kabataan. And of course, itong grassroots sports programs na to, hindi naman si MILO ang talagang may ownership nito. It is co-created with several partners within the sporting communities in the Philippines because MILO is not a sponsor in sports. We're just here to help assist itong mga partner sports organizers natin. For example, Taekwondo. MILO is not an expert in Taekwondo, but we work with the Philippine Taekwondo Association because we believe in their program, we know they are the experts, and we just come in to support their programs. Basketball, best center. Isa po itong best center sa mga pinaka-unang sports clinics na launch in the Philippines, kung di po ako nagkakamali, 1982. It was a partnership with the late Dick Jorge. And the partnership has been strong since 1982 up till now. Partners pa rin po natin sila. So the MILO sports programs are categorized into two main divisions. Number one, we have in-school, and second is we have beyond school. So when we say in-school, these are the sports programs that happen within the school year. So may pasok po ang mga bata. So kaya itong mga programa na to, it always has something to do with the schools. Kaya we also partner with the Department of Education. And what I'm about to share with you na itong in-school sports programs, these are just some of the biggest in-school sports programs. Hindi pa po kasama dito yung pagsuporta natin sa palarong pambansa, ASEAN School Games, and more. So, for in-school, tatlo po yung highlight natin. We have MILO Champ Camp. So, MILO Champ Camp was launched in 2009. And we've been able to engage around 70 million kids ever since its launch in 2009. So ano po itong MILO Champ Camp for those who are not too familiar with it? So it is a nationwide pop-up sports clinics school tour that teaches the basics of sports and values formation to 1 million students annually. At least 1 million students annually. We do our best to cater to as much schools nationwide as possible. I think yung last run nito, naka 500 po kami. And we also include a values module for 30,000 parents. So, himayin natin. So, ito pong nationwide pop-up sports clinics school tour. What we do, again, in partnership with the Department of Education and the partner sports organizers, yung pinaka-recent version nitong Champ Camp, I think ang huli nating napatakbo to was February of last year, prior to the pandemic. So we bring in a pool of coaches in the school. Pupunta po kami doon. Again, this is done in partnership with the DepEd. Pupunta po kami doon, yung mga coaches na yon, and hihirabin po namin nila yung activity area nila. Usually, ito yung indoor na basketball court. So yung court ko, yung buong area na yon, hahatiin namin into 2 areas. 1 sport per area. So yung coaches, kaya sila pumapasok doon, magpapatakbo sila ng PE session or they will teach the basics of 2 different sports during that school activation. So one is basketball and then the other one is taekwondo. Tapos po, I think per session po na gagawin ito, ano siya eh, I think it's a 30-minute session. Pupunuin po ng mga estudyante yan, school students o mga public school students po. Of course, they will be advised in advance to wear the appropriate attire, naka-PE outfit po sila. So yung area A, pupunuin ng students ng basketball. Yung area B, pupunuin din ng students ng taekwondo. Tapos 15 minutes, bibigyan po natin sila ng parang patikim ng sports. So habang nangyayari yung 15 minutes basketball dito, sabay na nangyayari yung 15 minutes basketball po sa kabilang side with taekwondo. And then after po, that 15 minutes, magsishift po sila. Yung nag-basketball, pupunta sa taekwondo, and then yung nag-taekwondo, pupunta sa basketball. So at least after the 30 minutes nung sports activity, naka-experience po sila ng 2 sports. And then after nun, a fresh batch of students will come in. So ano po siya? From morning till afternoon. And wini-welcome po ito ng DepEd kasi it helps complement their physical education program. Ang ganda po nung feedback ng mga magulang at saka ng mga bata who are able to join this program. Kasi like yung iba sa kanila, first time nila nakahawak ng bola, first time nila naka-experience na magpasa at mag-dribble. Again, these are elementary students. We're talking about siguro po mga grade 1 to grade 5 students po ito. And we go as far as yung mga remote areas like yung mga Mindanao. Tapos even yung mga magulang, dahil ini-invite din po natin sila na pumunta doon sa school makikita nila yung mga anak nila na ginagawa yung sport na yun because we want them to get inspired na yung mga anak pala nila is may natural hilig sa sports. Kumbaga ba, meron pa silang ibang pwedeng ipagawa dun sa bata aside from watching mga gadgets or nasa TV all day. Get them into sports. And then after seeing that physical education program, we invite them dun sa values module. So yun po yung third bullet, values module. So nangihiram po kami sa school ng 2 to 3 classrooms. And then may mga parents po dun. And then we have guest speakers that talk about the importance of why it is very valuable to get your kids into sports. So dito na po yung papasok yung mga character-forming values, discipline, teamwork, confidence. So we want to convince parents that that sports offer a lot of life application. We want them to not think na laro lang siya. Ito pong confidence, teamwork, and discipline, these are in fact the same character-forming values that will allow these children to be successful later on in life kapag they start pursuing their professional careers. So yan po, yung MILO Champ Camp. Next, I'm sure you've heard of the National MILO Marathon. It started in 1974 and sobrang nag-boom na po siya. In fact, the last installment that we did, the National MILO Marathon, I think we had a total of 11 races nationwide. And yung dating 1974 na 747 runners annually, kasi pa isa-isa lang ang National MILO Marathon nun, and dahil naging multiple races na siya in the year, again, because of the support of the PATAFA then, we want to support PATAFA to get children into an active lifestyle through running. We are able to attract mga 180,000 runners na po nationwide every time nagkakaroon tayo ng MILO Marathon. And 85% of the participants come from schools age 7 to 15 years old. So, for those na hindi pa po nakapunta ng MILO Marathon, it is a grand spectacle to see. Kasi ang dami talagang families, students, teachers, and community members that join this program. Yung makikita mong sea of green sa starting line, it's amazing, it's breathtaking na parang multiple gunshots para lang maubos mo yung dami ng mga tao na yan para tumakbo around the race course. We cater to different categories. May 21K, 10K, And then for the younger students, mga 5K and 3K. So again, yung 85% ng participants are the 3K and 5K runners. Though yung prestige nandun sa 42K participants kasi it's also part of the talent identification program of PATAFA, a big chunk of the participants, again, 85%, are really those children, 7 to 15 years old, coming from schools. So, napakadali po kasi to get into running eh. Wala ka masyadong kailangan na sports equipment. So, this can be a start of point for them to get into that active lifestyle. In fact, ang ganda nga ng programa ng PATAFA, yung Run, Jump, Throw. Kasi itong program na to can lead you to other sports activities that you might want to pursue later on. And then third, we have the MILO Little Olympics. So, kung tama po ang recollection ko, it was launched back in 1984. So, kung familiar po kayo sa palarong pambansa, ito po yung version namin, MILO Little Olympics. But when we say ito yung version namin, we're not saying that we're competing directly with palarong pambansa. So, ito pong MILO Little Olympics, we are very cautious or we align with the DepEd kung kailan gagawin itong MILO Little Olympics. Kasi gusto natin yung journey ng student athlete year-round, ideally meron siyang selection of different sports competition that they can get into para malaman nila how far they've progressed with their skills. Ang siguro key difference ng palarong pambansa at saka MILO Little Olympics, so palarong pambansa, regional yung team dyan, pero itong Little Olympics, inter-school sports competition. So, from the name itself, Little Olympics, it's an Olympic-like setting. Ganun din, meron tayong lighting of the torch, meron tayong parade of athletes, and they compete in different sports. I think nasa mga 15 different sports po yan. So, ito po yung 3 key programs for during the school year. Next is Beyond School. So, kapag sinabi nating Beyond School, these are the programs that happen during the summer season. Dahil bakasyon yung bata, suddenly, naging mas marami po yung oras nila, yung parang in a way idle time nila kasi nasa bahay sila eh, bisa pumapasok sila ngayon, na free up na yun. And all the more that we need to have a solid sports programs that should be happening over the summer period. And that, yung dalawa pong programa natin are the MILO Sports Clinics and MILO Barangay Liga. So MILO Sports Clinics, which was launched back in 1982, with just 2 sports lang po noon eh, kung di ako nagkakamali, basketball at saka swimming. And then nag-expand na po siya, 18 different sports na po tayo. So during the summer, you enroll your children to get into the sports clinics program para at least they get to learn the basics of the sport. So, pwedeng basketball, pwedeng karate, pwedeng gymnastics, volleyball, may fencing din tayo, may taekwondo, may tennis, meron ding table tennis, badminton. So, again, 18 different sports. So, we want children to learn the basics of various sports in a unique and scientific way. It promotes character-forming values such as discipline, confidence, and teamwork. And ito annually, every summer, mga 40,000 students po ang nakikater natin dyan. And siguro, just to share with you, ito pong sports clinics program, kasi merong certain enrollment fee yan eh. So, no amount from the enrollment fee goes to MILO. It all goes to the partner sports organizers. Kasi a lot of people, sinasabi minsan, itong mga registration fee pumupunta sa MILO yan. Well, in fact, hindi. We just help promote the sports clinics, and then the sports clinics organizers get all the revenue from the registration or enrollment fees. Sa kanila po napupunta yon. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship between MILO and the sports organizers kasi we're able to push our trust into grassroots sports development, and then sila naman, they are able to create a revenue stream for their coaches to eventually become, to eventually make larger programs on a nationwide scale. Next is MILO Barangay Liga. So this was launched back in 2018 lang po ito. Kasi po, we also noticed na during the summer, uso po ang mga basketball league, mga pa-summer league po ng mga barangay. Marami nanonood dyan, di ba? Then may categories din po yan na pambata. So diyan po na na conceptualize yung Milo Barangay Liga. So why don't we partner with these barangay communities when they do their annual summer basketball league? So yung extent na papasok si Milo dito, kasi 'di ba sabi kanina, one of the barriers is 'di ba? May lack of safe spaces for play. So dito, nire-refurbish namin yung court. So kung mapapansin niyo po diyan in the photo, pinapinturahan namin yung court. And then we also provide them with with mga trophies, medals, at saka sports equipment that or yung basketball that they can use during the summer league. Tapos, we also merchandise the area with the value streamers. Kasi again, we want to heighten why it's important to get children into sports. So yan yung sample, yung nandyan, yung learn discipline na streamer. So ang kagandahan nito, yung mga barangay SK group na nagpapatakbo nung Summer Basketball League, meron naman talaga silang budget para patakbuhin yan. Pero since MILO came in, suddenly yung gagastusin nila for the repainting, for the purchase of sports equipment, yung mga trophies and medals, minsan pag-gift pack dun sa winners, suddenly yung budget nila doon na-free up na. And itong na-free up na budget, dahil kasi MILO came in, ito pong na-free up na budget na ito, it is now being used to other sports programs that can help the community to get their children into sports somewhere. So, again, when it comes to grassroots sports development, ito talaga yung thrust namin, building champions every day. We want to nourish children's journey to success with nutritious energy and the inspiration to grow with sports. So, nutritious energy, so that's where the product comes in, MILO. Ang MILO po, ang number one ingredient yan is milk. And then, syempre, yung the taste that they love, yung mga kids. And of course, we have that winning inspiration. We try our best to establish sino tong mga athletes that children should look up to. Kasi ano yan ang lakas po nung idol factor. In fact, when we do yung mga MILO Little Olympics, yung mga nagta-taekwondo doon, yung mga bata, pag ini-interview mo nung dati, paano ka ba nahilig na pumasok sa taekwondo? Or yung isang bata, paano ka ba nahilig na pumasok sa basketball? Kasi nakikita ko dati si Chris Chu, nakikita ko si Japoy Lizardo, so parang ang cool galing nila Tapos, itong mga ambassadors na ito, very particular din kami sa with their personal background. Dapat maganda yung moral values nila, role model, kasi as much as possible, syempre, the MILO endorser or the MILO athlete is not really measured with the trophies and medals na na-achieve niya. Bonus na lang kung naging world champion siya or naging gold medalist. It's really parang them being a successful adult at the moment, holistically balanced, maganda yung values. Yun yung hinahanap namin when it comes to being a MILO ambassador. Kung ikaw mismo yung magulang, sasabihin mo, in fact, lumabas to nung nagkaroon kami ng survey sa Best Center for Basketball, yung mga magulang sinasabi nila, kaya ko in-enroll yung anak ko sa Best Center kasi someday, gusto ko yung anak ko maging parang si Chris Chu. And Chris Chu, ang ganda ng image niya As in, siya, negosyante siya, marunong siya, ang ganda ng sportsmanship niya. Again, bonus na lang na nakakapag-SEA Games siya, or may mga ganito siyang medal. Bonus na lang yun. Siyempre, siguro nakatulong din. Gwapo din si Chris Chu, di ba? So parang ang lakas nung idol factor. So siguro at this point, I want to share with you ano yung parang pinaka-brand manifesto. Why it's important to get children into sports. So let me stop sharing my screen and share another screen. Okay, Sir Edward, can you see my screen? Dapat YouTube siya uli na hindi pa piniplay.
Yes po, yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Sige. So I'll play this. This is MILO Mondial. We launched this back in 2009. I want you to take a look particularly closely dun sa mga yung lalabas na text. Kasi I think this is one of the ads na very meaningful yung articulation, why it's important to get children into sports.
Great things start from small beginnings.
Okay, so siguro just to highlight a few things from the material. So sinasabi po doon, every child can be amazing. Move them, inspire them, lead them, guide them, draw out the champion within them so that they can be the best that they can be. So this, for us, this is what grassroots sports development is all about. That's why it is very important that at a very early age, you start getting children into sports. And that's those are the programs na talagang fina-farm out namin. So yan, palarong pambansa, Batang Pinoy, PATAFA also has their athletics program. In fact, later on, i-mention ko yung isa sa mga pinakamagandang innovation na ginawa nila, yung National Kids Athletics Games online. Yan. So that for us that's how important grassroots sports development is, kasi kung bata pa lang you mold them into responsible and parang well-disciplined individuals, parang it also contributes to nation building eh. Kasi kung bata pa lang, ganyan na sila, pinalaki mo ng maayos, eventually, they will pass it on to the next generation. And we're just fortunate that a lot of these kids who are able to come out very successful through sports, na kahit papano, MILO has become a part of their journey growing up. Di ba, doon nga po sa MILO jingle, a chance to be better, a chance to become a dream. Tapos sa MILO every day, di ba? So yun talaga, we want to be part of their journey growing up. Okay. Now I'll go to the second part of the grassroots sports program, kasi ito pong shinare namin sa inyo. Ito yung grassroots sports program na pinapatakbo mo prior to the pandemic. So, ngayon na nag-pandemic, marahil nagtataka kayo, paano na ngayon? Pandemic, yung mga bata nasa bahay, ang schools, not allowed pa yung face-to-face learning. So, how do we get them into sports? Napakalaking challenge yan. So early on last year, again, pandemic hit ng March. Suddenly, a lot of families are encouraged to stay at home, especially children. In fact, up till now, yung mga bata, hindi pa rin talaga pwedeng lumabas. Dapat nasa bahay lang. And nagiging critical lalo dahil nagbago yung mundo nila. In fact, a lot of children are also encountering mga mental health issues na kasi hindi nga makalabas eh. So, nagkaroon ng ng parang higher calling with the MILO team and of course the sporting communities. How do we find ways to still get children active at home? And this is I'd like to share with you kung paano namin ngayon pinivot yung grassroots sports program na on ground kasi yan mga Milo Marathon kasi ano yun may actual pupunta ka doon nandun yung mga bata, how we pivoted it into digital, and that's where the Milo Home Court comes in. So yung Milo Home Court po, it's a digital based sports program. Sorry about that. Ayan. It's a digital-based sports program na yung main objective niya is to empower parents to continue their children's champion journeys even when at home. And we were guided by 3 key pillars in running this program: inspire, empower, and involve. So when we say inspire, we wanted to inspire moms to take action in creating children's home court for sports. Kasi again, the children cannot do it on their own to get into sports. Ang laki pa rin ng role ng mga magulang to get their children into sports, to find ways to get them into sports. The same way na ngayon with online learning or ito pong mga learning modules na pinibigay po ng DepEd, wala naman yung teacher sa bahay So, kailangan mag-step up ng mga magulang para maturuan yung mga anak nila dito sa mga learning modules na ito. So, ganun din for sports. They need to intervene. Later on, I'll share with you the launch video of Milo Home Court to let you better understand what I mean by the roles intervention to still allow their children to get into sports. Yan. So next pillar is empower. So we came up with different tools or content for parents to get children active at home. Again, when we say we, together with our partner sports organizers. So what you see here, nakasulat dito, continue their champion journeys at home. So together with the sports organizers, nag-transition na rin yung sports clinics into digital. So ganito rin, kung ganito, sanay tayo sa Zoom, magkakaroon tayo ng ganitong session, ito, if you could imagine, taekwondo. So there's a teacher, taekwondo, katayo siya, tinuturo niya yung form, then naka-online yung mga estudyante, and then, tinuturo sa kanila. At least merong real-time intervention. Like, kunyari, merong isang bata, kid A, pakitaas pa ng onti yung paa mo when you do the kick. Kasi you need to transition into digital Otherwise, wala. Mangangalawang yung mga bata. Sayang naman yung na-progress nilang skills in those sports. In fact, yung anak ko, naka-enroll yan sa taekwondo. And during this pandemic, nakadalawang level up na siya sa belt niya. So, even the belt promotion, tuloy pa rin. So taekwondo is just one of them. Again, this is available with the 10 different sports. So may basketball. In fact, chess, meron na ring online offering yan. So yun po yung sa empower. And the next is involve. So this is where the other expert partners of MILO come in, like the UP College of Human Kinetics, the Philippine Sports Commission, the Philippine Olympic Committee, the Department of Education. So we collaborated with partners to extend support to a wider community. So here you would see sa third column, we launched a series of talks then, wherein we invited the guest speakers. Ito si Professor Mona Adviento from the UP College of Human Kinetics. And ang topic nito is holistic health of kids sa new normal. So dito ang mga topic of discussion is ano yung mga pwede mong gawin as a parent to get your children active at home, bakit importante yung having active breaks even during online school learning. Kasi even during the break na gumawa sila ng 5-minute physical activity, ang laki na nung mabuboost dun sa bata when it comes to active learning. Sabi nila, active kids are better learners. Kasi when you inject a short physical activity to resume your online learning or school learning, it helps boost your blood circulation. It improves your blood circulation. Mas na-oxygenate yung katawan mo. It improves your focus. And it generally provides a better mood sa mga bata. So it is really encouraged na magkaroon ng mga breaks. Tayo muna, 5 minutes, gawa ka ng short exercise before you have your child go back into schooling. Okay, so that's Milo Home Court. I'll show you the video nung launch nito on how parents can intervene in getting their children into sports.
Great things start from small beginnings. Growing up, reach early for your dreams. Face the day, there's a new challenge. A chance to be better. A chance to become your dream. Growing up with champion energy. Growing up with Milo. Milo every day.
Tara na? Game?
Champions, together, let's continue our champion journeys at home.
From Nestle.
Yan, so yan po yung Milo Home Court. Again, yung parents can do something doon sa limited space at home to still allow them to get into sports. And part of Empower, yung pinroduce namin ng mga video content na available in YouTube online, lahat po nung sports instructionals doon, co-created with our partners, takes in consideration yung maliit po na space sa bahay. So all those sports programs na naka-upload sa YouTube, ano po talaga siya, in-home friendly po siya. Now, to give you a better flavor of the entire Milo Home Court campaign, I'll show you this short video as well. Kasi ang daming legs nitong Milo Home Court eh. If you would imagine, ginagawa namin siya as early as April for the entire year last year. Kasi we needed to make sports relevant. We felt that it is our duty to get children remain active at home. And ipagpapatuloy pa rin po natin ito ng 2020. So here's the video, pero sa dulo po puputulin ko lang siya kasi mahaba po siya.
NBA is suspending.
Next year's Olympics will be cancelled.
Champions, together, let's continue our champion journeys at home.
So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that very quick journey ng Milo Home Court. In fact, ang hindi lang po namin nasama dito na we are very proud na nagawa namin with the PATAFA is yung Milo National Kids Athletic Games online. Who would have thought na even yung athletics pwede pa lang i-transition into online. Pero I won't preempt kung ano yung results nito kasi I think that's something that will be announced this weekend care of PATAFA. But we're very proud to have been part of this pivot of PATAFA into online athletics then as well. So actually that's it for my presentation. Again, to reinforce, for us, grassroots sports development po is as early as children are able to get into sports, as early as mga 7 years old, ipasok na natin sila into sports kasi sayang yung dun yung time na very receptive sila sa values formation. Kaya very important na bata pa lang expose na natin sila sa sports. Hindi naman para maging champion later on. Bonus na lang yun, yung pagiging champion. It's really the life values that is more important, which they take away from sports. These life values are the same values that they will need to be successful later on in life. Mapa-professional career or kung anumang ambition yung plano nilang i-pursue, basta may solid silang values, magiging kampante ka, nakakayanin ng anak mo. Kasi later on, ako magulang din, magle-let go ka rin sa mga bata eh. The best that you can do right now is to prepare them for adulthood. And for me, I make it a point that I get them into sports. Siguro one last na lang po as part of my closing remarks. Si hindi na tayo na iba, si Miss Bea Lucero po, ang isa sa mga very kilalang MILO sports endorser noon. Siyang nagsabi sa akin ito and sobrang nag-stick to. Sabi niya sa akin, alam mo Lester, for me, sports is non-negotiable for my children. Hindi pwedeng walang sports yan. I think she delivered a very good speech during one of the PSA Awards night. I think that was 3 years ago. Ang ganda nung sinabi niya doon. Talagang sports really contributed a lot to who she is right now. So yeah, that's it. I hope you were able to take away a lot of learnings then from the earlier presentation. So maraming salamat po, Sir Edward.
Thank you so much, Sir Lester, for that very interesting presentation on your MILO sports program that you've been implementing for quite a long time, and we are lucky to be in partnership with you. Gaya nga nung sabi mo kanina, PATAFA and MILO has almost has an identical platform when it comes to how we see grassroots sports program. The difference lang sa MILO, because they have to be dealing with different NSAs and sports organizations, they have to offer different sports opportunities and activities. Samantalang sa PATAFA, of course, we need to focus on athletics. So, going by that, focus on our sport, our beloved sport, which is really exciting and growing. As I posted yesterday, in 2 weeks' time, the World Athletics will be putting online the first ever virtual Museum of World Athletics, MOA. And everyone could have access on it and could check everything that has to do with athletics. But, okay, now going back to your presentation, to your talk, sir. From the vantage of a sports executive like you, what is a meaningful grassroots sports or athletics program?
Yeah, for me, dapat kumpleto yung programa. Dapat makita mo na it's not a one-off thing. Ma-assess mo naman kung may long-term plans yung partner organizer. Kasi ako, with my career with the MILO sports programs, may mga lumapit na rin na partners na when they did their presentation, parang hindi masyado buo yung hindi siya long term Parang it doesn't scale up to somewhere that will enable the child to have that continuous journey when it comes into the sport. So importante na merong continuous journey yung programa. So for us, itong mga programa na to na merong continuous journey, yun yung mas sinusuportahan namin. Kasi at the end of the day, limited din yung resources namin Finite pa rin yan at the end of the day. And with all the sports organizers nationwide, ang dami yan. Talagang pipiliin mo lang din talaga. Of course, pumapasok yung reputation, gaano katagal na ba yung programa, ano yung feedback ng mga tao dito sa programa na ito, and does it imbibe the same essence of wanting to groom these children to have these character-forming values later on. So yun po siya, Sir Edward.
Yes, sir, going back to your presentation, kasi I was really impressed with how extensive it is. I thought you would just show a few slides, but it's really extensive. But if you could, if it's possible for you to share with our webinar participants how MILO plans and integrates and executes its own grassroots sports initiative, those things that you presented a while ago. How do come up with that? How do you sort of like integrate them and then finally execute them?
Okay. Actually, yung key talaga dito, we don't really come up with our own programs, but we partner with the experts who has these programs. Like for example, the sports clinics. Hindi namin, ano kami, parang hindi namin kaya magpatakbo ng basketball program, hindi namin kaya magpatakbo ng volleyball program. So we really just come in as a sponsor. And siguro, what's really working for us as well, sana ang PATAFA, ganito rin ang masabi nila, kapag pumapasok kami, we are able to provide enough support in a way na it also helps defray the cost of the organizer. Kasi hindi po biro magpatakbo ng ganitong sports program. Ang daming resources na kailangan dyan. Like for example, yung National Athletics Games ng PATAFA, hindi biro na kumuha ka ng malaking venue, ang daming ilang araw yan, pakakainin mo yung athletes. Hindi biro yan eh. 'Di ba? Ang laki niyan eh. Laki nung ano na yan eh, nung investment na yan. So in terms of integrating everything, so kaya namin nilabas yung in school at saka beyond school na categories. So for in school, again, these are all the programs that happen during the school year, and then beyond school, ito yung nangyayari outside the school year. So perfect example niyan yung MILO Sports Clinics. Kasi bawat organizer, may kanya-kanyang pa-clinic yan eh. O di sige, mag-usap tayo, mag-agree tayo, integrate natin lahat, gawin nating summer sports clinics. Para pag pinromote natin yung summer sports clinics, damay na kayo lahat doon. Mapa taekwondo ka, mapa volleyball ka, mapa karate ka. In fact, a lot of the sports organizers who reach out to us to be part of the sports clinics, hindi naman, ang mas habol talaga nila is the marketing muscle that we bring in. Kasi we promote their clinics eh. And remember, when we promote their clinics, and a lot of people get to know more about their clinics, people sign up to these programs and all the registration fees goes to them. So in a way, siguro, gano'n namin siya na-integrate, Sir Edward. We do our best na i-categorize yung mga different programs para hindi naman firing in all directions. Siguro baka later on we can look at athletic sports clinics. I don't know. Baka that's something that we can look at later on a nationwide scale. Kasi impressed din ako sa sa organization ng PATAFA. May mga yan eh. May mga regional leads yan, may mga regional team yan. Ang galing eh. Parang ang taekwondo ganyan din eh. Napaka-organized. Ang galing nung structure nila. So, yun yung attempt namin to integrate everything by allowing them to fall into certain categories and having that amplification support for the rest of the year.
Okay, sir. Let's look now on the business side of the whole aspect of developing and implementing a sports program, be it on the side of a corporate brand like you, or on the side of private sports organizations such as PATAFA. So when it comes to corporate sponsorship, how do you, because we have to admit that we have to acknowledge that you are a business brand, okay, and you have to make yourself viable business-wise, okay. Otherwise, you put yourself in a predicament or a risk of making your brand or your organization no longer viable financially, di ba? So in terms of corporate sponsorship, how do you qualify and quantify MILO's corporate sponsorship vis-a-vis its commercial return?
Okay, thank you for that, Edward. Siguro very fortunate lang din kami na yung intrinsic product benefits of the MILO brand, the actual drink itself, because it's a nutritious chocolate malt milk drink, it translates to, it naturally translates into why you should get into sports. Kasi it provides energy eh. Yung yung nutritious na MILO cup eh. Kailangan when it comes to general health and wellness of a person, especially children, hindi enough that you just consume a nutritious beverage. Dapat meron kang physical activity paired with an active lifestyle. And siguro doon kami nagiging fortunate because there's a natural link between the product and its advocacy of grassroots sports development. I'm not sure kung paano ginagawa ng iba. Like for example, there are other brands in other categories. I don't know, siguro minsan it's a bank or it's an insurance brand. Nakikita mo nag-i-sponsor yan ng ng mga sporting events I'm not sure kung paano nila tinatahi yung in a way yung kwento nun. Pero yon, we're very fortunate na merong natural link. Now, in terms of commercial returns, when it comes to sponsorships or amplification of sports programs that we support, for example, the SEA Games, hindi siya necessarily measured in terms of how much sales it was able to generate. Kasi again, hindi naman siya like kunyari, SEA Games, before ka makanood ng SEA Games, bili ka muna ng MILO na X pesos worth. Hindi naman ganun di ba? Even for the sports clinics, sige, enroll ka sa sa karate or sa taekwondo, pero before ka enroll diyan, dapat bili ka muna ng MILO. So hindi siya ganun. It's really an advocacy. And siguro yung isa sa mga key measures na tinitingnan namin, meron kaming tinatawag na brand imagery and attributes. So we monitor a certain list of imagery and attributes that we measure from time to time kung effective ba yung nagiging kampanya or itong sponsorship ng sports programs. Siguro an attribute that I would like to share with you doon sa mahabang listahan na yon. Kunyari na lang, is a brand that helps my child succeed. Yun, kung mataas yun lagi, okay yan. Kasi it helps deliver on our brand essence or brand promise to get your child into sports, get him into that journey, to get them successful when they become adults. And the fact na na-mention na, yung MILO nga, tinutulungan ako na yung anak ko maging successful in the future. Parang sobrang ginto nun para sa amin. These are attributes that should not be measured by a sales component. The fact na meron kaming trust of the consumers, that's very valuable for us. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Sir Edward.
Yes, thank you. Very precise answer. On selecting your brand ambassadors and endorsers, what are your crucial parameters you consider? And should this be necessarily aligned with your grassroots initiatives?
Okay, very good question yan, Sir Edward. Kasi to tell you frankly, ang dami rin lumalapit sa amin minsan na, ako, athlete ako, pwede ba ako maging MILO ambassador? Or merong talent manager, itong athlete ako, mahusay to, magaling to sa swimming, ganyan, magaling to sa iba-ibang sports. Kunin nyo to, okay to, ganyan. Okay. So ano yung mga factors? Marami to, pero I'll just share a few. Okay. Number one, ideally, meron siyang MILO heritage, ang tawag namin. So when you say MILO heritage, ideally, nung bata pa siya, kasi sikat na sila ngayon di ba? Ideally, nung bata pa siya, they started with the MILO sports program. Case in point, Japoy Lizardo. Alam nyo ba, si Japoy, before nag-taekwondo yan, nag-MILO best basketball clinic yan. So basketball ang first sport ni Japoy sa MILO sports program. Pero, he learned about taekwondo, pinasok niya yung taekwondo, and nataon. Taekwondo is also a partner of MILO. So yon, yung MILO heritage, check yon. Chris Chu, saan galing yan? MILO Best Center din. Siguro, wag na tayong lumayo. Athletics, Mary Joy Tabal. Kasi, Sir Edward, wala pa tayong athletic sports clinics, di ba? Pero saan galing si MJ? During the MJ, lagi siyang nagko-compete sa MILO Little Olympics. And in fact, yung kinukwento niya sa akin, Hindi nga siya nanalo, nagta-third, fourth place lang siya eh. Pero ngayon, alam mo yun, pag sa kanya galing yung kwento, itong journey niya sa sports, it really allowed her to be the best that she can be. So yun, Milo Heritage, MJ Tabal, grabe ang lakas. Even before pa naging National Milo Marathon Queen yan, nagko-compete na sa Milo Little Olympics yan. Okay, last ambassador siguro na isi-share ko. Ito, gymnastics. Huwag tayong lumayo, world champion, Kaloy Yulo. Same din ni MJ Tabal. He used to compete in the Milo Little Olympics. And ang kagandahan naman ito, si Kaloy, talagang siya, naging most outstanding athlete pa siya. So when we do our comms, when we do our campaigns or our mga materials, yung mga ads, when we feature an athlete, it should come from the Milo Sports Program. Hindi siya yung dahil sikat na, pasok na natin kasi we're not being true to our advocacy of getting children into sports and allowing them to be successful adults later on. We're not being true kung biglang kukuha lang kami from the shelf na, ito, magaling to, sige, Milo na yan. Hindi ganun. Kailangan merong rich yung heritage niya. So every time merong lalapit na talent or merong nagdo-nominate na, itong talent na to, ipasok natin sa Milo Sports Program. May Milo Heritage ba yan? Yan yung isa sa mga unang tanong. Pag wala, mahihirapan tayo dyan. I don't remember any, ngayon wala akong maisip na recent Milo endorser na naging endorser without that Milo Heritage. Pero siguro remember, Milo came in sa Philippines sa mga 1960s and we've been consistently doing the sports program. Ang laki nung scale niya eh. So in terms of casting that wide net into sports, kahit mga palarong pambansa, pasok yan sa Milo Heritage. Siya, malawak yung pool na pwedeng pagkunan ng mga athletes. So yon, Milo Heritage, number 1. Second, and siguro, mahaba yung list eh. Yung second na lang siguro na, last na lang siguro na isi-share ko. Dapat, talaga, they espouse the Milo values. Meaning, sila, role model. Titingalain ng magulang, titingalain ng mga bata. Kasi important yung idol eh. Uy, idol ko si MJ Tabal Uy, idol ko si Christian. Uy, idol ko si Japoy Lizardo. Yung pag nasabi mong idol, parang kami mismo, dapat idoluhin niyo talaga yan. Kasi ang galing yan eh. Parang kahit ako, may anak ako, gusto ko someday maging parang siya eh, di ba? So, importante yung role model. Kasi yung mga bata, yung mga magulang, in a way, they are given a tangible person in mind on who they want their children to become later on in life. Hindi siya fictional character. Merong actual person that espouses those values that really started in sports. So kung merong ganitong tao, ako rin as magulang, kaya ko rin yung anak ko eventually maging ganyan. So yun, Sir Edward, yun yung 2 items na i-share ko how we select the Milo Ambassador. Pero mahaba pa yung listahan, sir.
Very much on point, Sir Lester, for that description and explanation on how you evaluate possible endorsers, brand endorsers, and ambassadors. What in terms of going back to sponsorship, because this is highly related to our upcoming episode of the PATAFA PepTalks, which will discuss on the dispelling the myths and demystifying sponsorship. Marami nagtatanong, paano ba magpa-sponsor? So that's the reason why I'm going to ask this question, because it's related to that episode. So I'm giving you a hint na magkakaroon kami ng episode on that, on how you'll be able to work and to possibly court sponsorship or brand partnership with corporate sponsors. What would be your, before I lead to this question, sundutin ko lang sinabi ni Sir Lester about the brand heritage. So that gives a hint to all those participants of the MILO National Kids Athletics Games. Okay, so qualify na kagad kayo. Doon na lang sa second criteria na lang kayo kailangan yung trabaho, di ba? So everyone who has participated in this online activation program of partnership of PATAFA and MILO, pasok na kayo. Okay. So okay, going to my question on sponsorship. So what would be your advice to a particular sports organization seeking corporate sponsorship or partnership or brand partnership to support their respective grassroots activities?
Okay. So siguro ito yung magiging tip ko. If you're going to come up with a program and you're trying to seek out sponsors, kasi the sponsors, very valuable yan because they provide support, pwedeng in form of resources or in form of media amplification to help create a very successful program. So ito not specific to MILO. So suggestion ko, when you try to seek out sponsors, try to understand what does their brand stand for. So in this case, MILO. What does MILO stand for? It's about getting children into sports, helping them acquire life lessons or character-forming values that will enable them to be successful in life. So when you present to that prospective sponsor, ideally, you already start talking those lines. Why this program is appropriate with your brand because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how MILO naturally comes in with our program kasi ang pagkaintindi namin sa MILO, ito kayo, and this is what our program offers. So, para at least yung mag-a-assess din for the sponsorship, kung yung brand team man yan, parang alam mo na uy, okay itong nagpe-present sa akin nag-research siya about my brand, about our company, ano yung trust namin. And alam kong hindi dekahon yung presentation. Kasi sometimes, yan yung trap when it comes to seeking out different sponsors. Sometimes you come up with sponsorship packages na sobrang generic na alam mong iba-blast mo na lang sa iba-ibang industriya. Pwedeng beverage, pwedeng food, yung insurance, bank, telecoms. Parang if it's too generic enough, parang kung ako, pag nakita ko yon as MILO, parang ano ba to? Bakit parang feeling ko ano lang to trying to attract as many sponsors as possible. So, it would be good na merong pitch, kumbaga ba, na customized dun sa potential sponsor nyo. Siguro share ko lang with sports brand, big sports brands. So Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. Alam ko sila yung best in class pagdating sa ganyan. When they attract mga NBA players to become endorsers, talagang they really do their best to customize their presentation. Kunyari, Jordan, yun lang, napanood ko sa hindi ko alam kung nabasa ko sa book niya or napanood ko dun sa The Last Dance. Gusto niya maging endorser ng Adidas. Pero, nung nilapitan siya ng Adidas, hindi masyado naramdaman nung dad niya na Adidas is the right brand for MJ. Pero when Nike came in, ang pinitch nila is his own product line, Nike Michael Jordan line. And I think kasi nagkaroon sila ng ni-research nila na si Michael Jordan at that time, meron siyang inclination na gusto niya meron siyang input dun sa sapatos na i-endorse niya. At that time sa Adidas, I think hindi yata wala yung option na ganun. But the other brand, Nike, came in with that info, so they customized that pitch to MJ. And the rest was history. Wala na. Nike na, up till now, retired na siya and everything. May pa rin, may Jumpman 23 brand pa rin. So yun yung advice ko. When you seek out sponsors, try to customize your presentation as much as possible for them, but you need to do research. You need to understand what that brand stands for and let them appreciate how being a sponsor of that program will tie in with what their brand is doing. So that's it, sir.
Straight from the high-ranking officer of a well-known brand. So guys, tandaan nyo yung sinabi ni Sir Lester when approaching prospect sponsors, corporate sponsors. Guys, if you have any question, we're open to accommodating you. Two or three, we could before we conclude this Pep Talks episode. On my last question, sir. So what is your outlook on corporate support for relevant sports programs or activities as the country navigates through and from the pandemic? Because we have the parang a pervading feeling na we are about to, I hope my feeling is right, we are about to navigate ourselves from this serious pandemic crisis. But moving forward, what is your outlook in terms of your MILO's role, or in general, corporate community's role in sports program development?
Okay. Siguro when it comes to sponsoring itong mga upcoming sports programs, it's a bit ako personally parang medyo parang medyo grayish siya looking forward. The reason being, I'm sure you've heard with with all the developments with the Olympics, all those sponsors who came in are having a very challenging time how to create campaigns around it. Kasi parang ba, tutuloy ba? Well, alam natin na itutuloy pa rin nila, pero baka last minute, makancel. So, very siya, parang I think yung mga sponsors ngayon medyo napasok. Especially those who doesn't have a natural link with the sports program. So that's for me in terms of sponsorships. But specific to MILO, again, we're very fortunate na may natural link with the sports programs. Kaya patuloy pa rin itong pagsuporta namin sa sports programs. However, ang caveat nito, because of the pandemic, it's not the usual sports programs. Online-based talaga siya. Hence, we have the National Kids Athletic Games online. Who would have thought na magkakaroon ng ganyan? Dahil nagkaroon ng pandemic, biglang nagkaroon ng ganyang programa. And sinuportahan natin yan. So yun, fortunate kami na merong natural link. And kami, yung trust talaga namin ngayon is puro digital. Pero kapag dumating na yung time, allowed na ng DOH or ng IATF to resume on-ground sports programs, makakaasa kayo na ipapagpatuloy pa rin ng MILO, yung commitment nila to grassroots sports development. Kasi it's about contributing to nation building. Kaya importante yung grassroots sports development program. Yun, siguro yung na-discover lang namin ito, even if pwede na uling bumalik yung on-ground sports program, ipapagpatuloy pa rin namin itong online sports program. So magko-coexist sila. Kasi what we learned, yung on-ground sports program in terms of reach, syempre, ang may expose mo lang dyan, yung areas kung saan ka nagkaroon ng activation. Itong ginawa namin na digital sports program, when we did the survey, 50%. Laki doon 50%. Di ba kanina, lumabas 35 million people engaged nationwide. 50% nun, first time nila nakasali ng MILO sports program. And this is because naging mas accessible yung digital ngayon. So, with that, nakikita namin moving forward, even pag bumalik na yung on-ground, again, this is specific to MILO, magko-coexist siya. Merong online sports programs pa rin and merong on-ground sports program. So na siya? Two-pronged na siya. Magtutuloy-tuloy siya. So, yun, sir. Yun yung nakikita naming outlook for this one.
That's an exciting prospect, sir, and something that we are really looking forward, especially with MILO. Sir, we have a question here fielded by Brian Yalong, one of our press members of the press guest here. His question is, are there hurdles you have considered when you plan or your online programs? How can you entice parents and kids to join, since there is a difference between a face-to-face and online execution?
Okay, thank you for that, Sir Brian, Sir Brian Joseph Yalong. Okay, so ang daming hurdles, sa totoo lang. Kasi, again, when we reach out to our partner sports organizers, yung mga coaches nila, ito na lang, basketball. Yung mga coaches nila, trained sila magturo ng face-to-face. So, ibang set of skills and competencies yan. And when you transition to online, hindi pwedeng kung ano yung tinuturo mo sa face-to-face, yun din yung ituturo mo sa online. Kaya kumbaga ba babaguhin mo yung learning, yung teaching plan mo. Siguro I'm not sure if there are members of this session na nag-online schooling. Ito ngayon lang ata malalaman ni Sir Edward itong sasabihin ko. Nung nag-pandemic, I enrolled myself sa UP College of Human Kinetics. So I took courses. Ayan, alam pala ni Sir Edward. So ano yun, pumapasok ako 3 times a week online, distant learning. Makikita mo ang galing din ng mga teachers ng UP eh. They transitioned their methods of teaching, di ba, naging mas multimedia based siya. Kasi dati, blackboard, sulat ka, tapos ang galing, naging multimedia based siya. They even published mga YouTube content, learning content na kung sakaling hindi kayo pwedeng magkaroon ng synchronous learning kasi isa naming professor noon, doktor din eh. So, dahil hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng synchronous learning, asynchronous na lang. Nag-publish siya ng YouTube material, tinuturo niya yung materials. Hindi, ang galing. So ako, nagkaroon ako ng better control na with my time. Na kasi nag-work din ako ng 8 to 6 eh. So mas nagkaroon ako ng better control to review those materials. And pwede kong balik-balikan, pwede ko i-rewind, pwede ko i-password, pwede ko i-pause, ano yung diagram niya, titingnan ko muna. So nag-adapt yung teaching methods nila. So ganun din with our sports clinics organizers. They needed to adapt their teaching methods. Kaya nung nilabas namin yung online sports program as early as April or May, ang una talagang naka-pivot with agility is yung martial arts. Kasi mas pwede sa online eh. Pero kung basketball, even volleyball, paano mo gagawin without face-to-face learning? So talagang binalikan nila. Again, MILO is not the expert when it comes to teaching sports. It is our organizers. Even badminton, di ba? Paano mo ituturo yun? So when finally they were able to come up with that teaching plan, nilatag nila sa amin, o sige, gawa tayong video, tapos i-amplify natin, i-boost natin sa YouTube. Yung badminton nga namin, with Asuncion Badminton Center, parang nag 1.6 million views. Ang dami nun. They're not able to attract 1.6 million students in a year, pero they were able to attract 1.6 million views. So, yun po, yun po ang mga hurdles na na-encounter. How you transition yung teaching method from face-to-face to an online-based program. So, yan po yung challenges. Pero again, ang galing ng mga partner sports organizers. They were able to transition into that. Then, pumasok lang po kami to support them.
In connection with that, there's a follow-up question this time naman from Ivan Saldejano. He's asking, with the vaccine arriving soon, will there be change plans for the MILO home court specifically, especially in the second half of the year? Example, resumption of physical sports clinic.
Yan. So to tell you frankly, very uncertain. Ang hirap talagang planuhin with exact timelines. Kasi even when the vaccine arrives, yung complete rollout niya on a nationwide scale, I think it will really take up a lot of logistical execution plans. So at the moment, until walang sinasabi ang DOH and IATF, and of course, hanggat hindi nire-recommenda ng partner sports organizers natin na pwede na mag-on ground, again, for the safety of the general public and lalo na yung mga bata, we won't push muna yung mga on ground. Only kapag ready na. Pero, again, kapag pwede na uli yung on-ground sports program, magbabalik yan. Babalik ang MILO Marathon, babalik ang MILO Champ Camp, babalik lahat ng mga programa na nabanggit ko kanina. Pero ang maganda nito, sa pagbabalik nila, kasabay nila yung na-establish na digital sports programs. So, sabay silang tatakbo ngayon. So yan yung
And
anticipate natin.
And corollary to that, to all the ongoing online programs of MILO together with PATAFA, this Saturday na ang ating grand finals ng MILO National Kids Athletics Games Online Exercise Challenge, wherein we have 3 sets of 12 grand finalists, no, coming from different locations across the Philippines, from as far as Batanes all the way to Zamboanga in Mindanao. So well represented ang ating mga kapuluan na Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Well represented, kaya exciting. And we will simulcast it. Of course, this will be conducted via Zoom sa mga participants. But for all the supporters and coaches and friends and parents, it will be simulcasted in our PATAFA YouTube channel and also PATAFA Facebook page. That would be on Saturday, beginning at 4 p.m. So nandun din si Sir Lester, of course, to being one of our main title sponsor and one of our judges. Kasi kailangan ma-determine natin kung sino pinaka-mahusay dito. But of course, hindi natin ina-undermine ang pagkakataon ng mga bata. Dito nagkakapareho ang PATAFA na dapat mag-enjoy sila sa activity. Enjoy. So I think we have already maximize our questions, and I think our participants have already asked what they've been wanting to ask, especially you, Sir Lester, as a practitioner in sports and sports marketing. So having said that, we'd like to invite you again for your any of your last message to all our participants, PATAFA PepTalks participants.
Okay, again, thank you to everyone who were able to join this session. Again, maraming salamat Sir Edward and to the entire PATAFA team for giving us this opportunity to share our take on grassroots sports development. So ako siguro yun lang. I'm not sure kung lahat dito magulang or may mga anak na. It's really wise to get your children early into sports. Sports is a great teacher. It teaches you character forming values that will enable them to be successful later on in life. Sabi nga nila you're preparing them for a bigger arena called life, diba? Hindi yung sa court or sa It's really the bigger arena called life. And being able to equip them to face on yung mga different challenges as they journey through life. So, yon, pagpatuloy natin ang grassroots sports development, i-promote natin ang sports, tulungan din natin ng PATAFA to promote yung kanilang online sports programs. Napakaganda po niyan. So, yeah, that's it, Sir Edward.
And also, after the grand finals of the MILO National Kids Athletics Games Online Exercise Challenge, in the coming months, we'll have the phase 2, which is not just more exciting dito sa ating naunang first phase. We will announce it in the coming days. Hindi muna namin i-share para ma-excite kayo. Okay, so before we officially conclude, we will be raffling off two gift packs from Milo. That's he's behind me. And of course, courtesy of Milo, Sir Lester. Maraming salamat. We'll raffle it off. We're using the online digital roulette. Naka-encode na dito. Nakikita niyo po ba yung roulette na umikot? Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So there are 2 chances of winning. Okay? So how many ba are you in the attendees list? Siguro mga nasa 30, no? So pray that you will be one of the 30. Ready? Go. Our first winner, si Maria Fulgencio. Is Maria Fulgencio here? Maria Bianca Camille Fulgencio.
Thank you po, Coach Edward.
Yan. Okay. Maria Bianca, thank you so much. So congratulations. Just message us through our PATAFA Facebook page, your complete address and of course mobile number para we could send you your prize gift pack from Milo. Next and last winner. Okay. That's a wonder of technology, no? You could raffle off. Kala ko si Brother Vince na eh. Mr. Rodolfo Lepi, I think he won last time during our last episode of our PATAFA PepTalks for another corporate brand. Nasa si Sir Rodolfo. Is he here? Kasi pag wala, pag hindi present online, we have to raffle again. Nandito ba siya?
Thank you, Coach. Thank you,
Okay,
Coach.
sir. Sir, ayun. Sir Rodolfo, I think you won last time, di ba? During the Fine Guard. You haven't messaged us your complete address and the mobile para pagsabayin na natin, di ba? Thank you so much to everyone, especially to Sir Lester Castillo of MILO, MILO Sports, and of course, NESTLE Philippines. Thank you so much for giving time to share with all our participants your insights and all your ideas that you have for all the programs of MILO, especially the ones that we are in partnership with. And to all our participants, maraming salamat po for joining us for this episode. Join us again in the coming weeks. We'll be announcing it naman ahead of time for more exciting topics and learning points. Thank you. And to all our members of the press, friends from the press, maraming salamat din for joining us. For you, it's also an honor every time we will be joined by press friends. It really thrills us and makes us really flattered. Thank you so much, guys. We hope to see you again in the next episode of PATAFA PepTalks. This is Edward Ko saying, keep healthy and get energized, especially with MILO. Sir, thank you.